Hey everyone, this is Dave here with a 2014 Ford Explorer, and I have an airbag light that was stuck on for 3 or 4 weeks, maybe a month, and I decided to start looking into it and see what it could possibly be. So I checked the internet and some blogs and forums, and it said to check the connectors underneath the seat, and so I looked around the connectors and I looked at different places, and I couldn't figure out what it could be. So I decided I needed to do some kind of diagnostic to get a better feel for where I should be looking for the issue causing the airbag light. So I had an OBD2 BFX8 scanner that I could plug in, and I could check the engine faults, but it did not show anything about any fault codes in the airbag system. So I did some research and found this OBD2 Link EX that plugged into your computer, and you loaded a program, and you could scan for airbag fault code. The program that you load into your computer is the FORSCAN, FORSCAN. So I connected the harness to the FORSCAN tool, and it told me that I had a passenger side curtain deployment control 2 code, so that I had a open circuit and my side curtain airbag on the passenger side. So I went online and was looking for some wiring diagrams that went to the connector to the right side canopy curtain airbag, and I couldn't find any websites that you could get the diagram for free. So I went to the library, and I found this out of a Chilton's book. And the very bottom circuit shows the wiring that goes from the restraint control module to the safety canopy on the right hand side of the vehicle. Turns out the connector that said it had open circuit is up here on the right hand side. You can see it in yellow and orange, but it's above the headliner, up in the right hand corner of the car, the back hat. And the other end of the wiring is connected to the restraint control module, which is under the console between the driver and passenger seat. So this is the view coming from the right rear door and the console between the driver and passenger seat. You see I took it loose and raised it up, but the restraint control module is underneath it here. So the wires going to the right-hand safety canopy are in the upper right-hand corner of the car, as I showed you. And here's the diagram that has the wires coming down and then down to the bottom sill between the front door and the back door. Then the wires follow the right-hand seal and then cut across underneath the passenger seat and then plug into the control module underneath the console. Here's a better picture of the connectors going into the control module under the console. The right-hand connector has the 2 wires going back to the airbag that I talked about earlier. Going back to the wiring diagram, the 2 wires going into the connector and the control module are labeled numbered 17 and 18. These correspond to the pin numbers in the connector. And you can see this wire above is brown with a white stripe, and this wire is yellow with a violet stripe. So these wires end up being the brown with the white stripe and the yellow with the violet stripe are these 2 wires here. It turned out that the open circuit was caused from this brown and white wire. You could see that this harness was designed for the connector to go, for the harness to go straight into the connector, but what they did is the harness makes a sharp 180-degree turn, so all these wires are crinkled up if they're too long on this side, on the inside of the radius, and they're stretched pretty tight on the outside of the radius as it's making this turn into the connector. So this brown and white wire, if you look close, you'll see that this wire is tighter than all the other wires. So this wire is in tension, and all these other wires are pushing the harness away from the connector, except for this one wire. And it turned out to be the wire that had the open circuit on it and caused the airbag fault light to come on. You can see that this wire, this harness going back into this connector that had the open circuit is zip tied down here, and it's tie strapped here, and it's anchored here, but there's nothing supporting it or holding the wire harness into the back of the connector to keep the wires from being pulled out from. So what I did to correct the problem is I put this huge zip tie around the whole module, and then on the back side of this harness to keep pressure on the back side to keep that brown and white wire from pulling out of the back of the connector and losing connection with the module. So you can see the connector in the console at the bottom that goes in the module was really where the problem was. I didn't need to go into the headliner, even though the fault code said it was a connector going up to the airbag, the right-hand side curtain. Really the other end of the connector, which went into the module, was where the wire was being pulled because of the sharp turn in the harness. So it could have been any wire. Any of the wires could have been the tightest one being pulled on and resulting in an open circuit. So it just so happened that, I mean, it was just a fluke that it was the upper curtain airbag. But anyway, so my advice would, if I had to do this over again, would be just go straight to the console and not take the headliner down and not look at the end circuit, but just go to the console, because of this wire harness. It's just the way it was routed and the way it was designed. It's prone to losing a connection in that area. So I would go for that first. You're welcome. Bye.